A very good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to see so many people in the audience this morning. I was a little concerned after some of the video I saw from last night's dinner that it might be a little bit quieter here. So it's my great privilege to introduce the Ambassadors in Action session, which has the theme of Beyond CSR, Business as a Force for Good. So in a few moments, what we will do is we will hear from our returning ambassadors. But the first thing that I wanted to do was to try and set some context to this session, because this is really about how business can be a force for good, and our ambassadors will describe that. But my challenge that I want to set to everybody in the audience is to be inspired by this session, because what we need to do is to understand how do companies not just act with purpose, but how do they help to create the conditions for everyone with purpose so that together we deliver on the opportunity of a better world. And to do that, what I want to do is just spend 3 minutes to just outline how a model of how, in my business, we look at this and how perhaps that could help you in your situation with your own business. So let me just fire up some slides here. He said confidently.
Pull the slides up, perfect.
Okay, so the first thing to start with is a brand or a business's purpose. It needs to be an integrated purpose. It's not simply that you have a social responsibility. It's that you have to understand that in order to have a valid, sustainable purpose, it needs to be integrated in a way that it serves all stakeholder groups, whether that be investors, customers, and society. For too long, those have been discrete initiatives, discrete objectives. It has to be a single purpose. And in our business, that purpose is that because we believe that the possibilities of technology and connectivity should be open to everyone, our purpose is to deliver on the promise of the digital world. To do that, we need to make sure that we understand how our assets can contribute, and every company needs to do the same, to enable people, businesses, and society. In our case, it's about helping people communicate, helping people connect, and then giving people the platform that enables their capabilities, essentially turning connectivity into possibilities for everyone and everything. What we believe is if we do that right, not only does it build on the strength of our business and our brand, but that reliability, that ability to deliver consistently to our society means that we can support human ability. It's a promise of remarkable potency. Almost every speaker in the last 2 days has talked about the fact that connectivity and data are essential ingredients of how they're going to drive change. This is a human ability support in a way that allows us to develop a new platform that's a unifying one for both the enterprise and for society, and connecting activity and data at its core. And to do that, we need to can tell the stories that bring that to life, true to the promise of advancing human ability. So in the US in the last few weeks, we have commissioned a documentary series with an award-winning documentary filmmaker to start with the compelling narrative around the reality of the fact that even in the US, there is a substantial digital divide, and millions of young people are missing out on the possibility of connectivity. We also need to make sure how we demonstrate how new capabilities like smart cities can help to deliver clean air solutions, how our IoT practice can help with food safety, how 5G can help with the next generation of advanced robotics in healthcare, but also VR as an incredible, powerful tool in education and ensuring education can reach to everyone. So that's just an example from my organization, but it poses the question which I want to leave you with before we hear from the ambassadors. If Verizon is delivering the promise of the digital world by enhancing the ability of people, businesses, and society to do more and to do more good, the question to the room is, how are you going to help your company to answer how it delivers in the same way? And specifically, what are you going to do and the role that you're going to play? And in that context, there could be no better opportunity to be inspired than to hear from our returning ambassadors who are doing exactly that, who are delivering with purpose inside large organizations. So it's my great pleasure to start introducing our ambassadors. The first of our ambassadors returning is Ankit Garg, who is Associate Director at Standard Chartered. Now, Ankit grew up in rural India with severe visual impairments and fought through an education system that underserved him to earn his position at Standard Chartered. After attending the One Young World Summit in Bangkok, Ankit was inspired to leverage his experience and his position at Standard Chartered to support young people with visual impairment. Upon his return from the summit, he led a new partnership between the bank and India's largest NGO working with blind people. It stands to empower 8,000 children to date, and the initiative has been adopted for a second phase where it will increase its impact threefold. Without further ado, let me introduce Ankit Garg.
Thank you, Ronan. 27 years back, when I was born to a middle-class family in rural India, I was diagnosed with a rare degenerative retinal disorder called retinitis pigmentosa, which eventually dimmed my world into darkness. But friends, you need not be sorry about it, because I never let my disability to tell me that you can't do this, or your dreams are absolutely impossible. My desire to do what I wanted to do was just paramount. During the whole process of my life, I had to literally struggle with the mindsets more than anything else. Mindsets that blind people can also do something in life. But I'm really happy and proud that at the end of the day, I could lead that mindset change. In 2013, recognizing my abilities and celebrating diversity and inclusion, I was inducted into the International Graduate Program of Standard Chartered Bank, and our organization I really admire so much in my heart. And that actually set the stage of my relationship with One Young World. The bank put faith in me and selected me as one of the delegates to represent at the 2015 summit in Bangkok. And believe me, the 2015 summit was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. You know, it gave me a purpose to life, and the most important thing is that I never wanted that summit to end up becoming a paid trip to Bangkok. Because my organization invested in me, I owe a real responsibility to give back sustainable returns on that investment. Friends, living with a severe visual impairment and having proudly defeated my disability, I thought it would be a matter of great pride for me to uplift people facing similar challenges out of extreme poverty. Being home to an estimated 50 million blind people, India has dismal status of these people. I have myself witnessed an incidence of a blind girl being gifted away as a trousseau with her sighted sister to the same man because the family did not understand what to do with that blind girl, actually in rural India. This would blow anybody's imagination. Inspired by One Young World, I hooked myself with Shalini Khanna, the head of National Association for the Blind, Center for Blind Women, one of the biggest NGOs in India working towards this cause. Friends, the most destructive part of losing one sight is the feeling of incompetence and loss of self-esteem and dignity. We realize that financial independence is the only thing which can bring that back. And therefore, to bring in financial independence, we believe that skilling and self-employment is the only possible alternative because businesses today anyways are averse to employing people with disabilities. So we went ahead and skilled blind people in areas which they are really damn good at. And to your surprise, let me tell you, we skilled people in areas like running a cafe, making handmade soaps and detergents fully organic, better than the best of the brands in the market. And today, we provided them with soft loans. We hand-holded them in the initial phase. And being a banker, I motivated my entire team to hold financial education session for those girls because we were rightly positioned to do so. So friends, and proudly from this platform today, I want to say that we have empowered close to 100 such blind people who are successfully running their self-enterprise in the remotest of the locations in India. Friends, more than anything else, we have been able to give them a better life. But more than that, they have now started feeling an included, and mark my word, included member of the society, which was the single most important thing we wanted to achieve through our project. And we believe that this project has immense potential to empower millions and millions of blind people sitting in the remote locations in the country. And to take our project to the next phase, we need support. We are seeking support. We are seeking support of global brands who can leverage their position to market these products. And we are seeking support of the microfinance companies who can provide us with seed funding. And today from this platform, I call on the business leaders to please come forward, partner with us in our journey to empower millions and millions of people that we want to. Friends, sympathy is the last thing that we want. We have created a clear business case that we are going to take forward. And now my message to the 2017 delegation. Friends, once you go back, I urge you not to make this a trip to Bogotá. When you go back, please hold tight to your sense of responsibility because you owe someone this opportunity and it is up to you to ensure a return on this most inspiring investment someone has done. Thank you so much.
Well done. Well done. Good. Thank you, Ankit. That's a fantastic opening, and we have more great stories to tell. Next, it's my privilege to introduce you to Tala Dajani. Tala works as a global senior brand manager at Reckitt Benckiser, and working with an international team of One Young World ambassadors at Reckitt Benckiser, Tala created Impact Now, a global purpose-driven movement. The initiatives of Impact Now include a global purpose council and a new employee volunteering program, Give Time, and an impact accelerator. Impact Now is a company-wide program that impacts Reckitt Benckiser's 40,000 employees globally. Let's give a big warm welcome to Tala Dajani.
Like you, I was sitting here at One Young World in Ottawa, listening to the most inspiring speakers, and I was in awe. Hearing about the most impactful stories and initiatives which were bringing about change. I'll be honest with you, I was questioning myself over and over, sitting down. How is it that I can make a difference? What is it that I can bring to the table? Because I did not work for an NGO. I did not have a big social idea to help solve some of the world's biggest problems. Instead of focusing on what I didn't have, I focused on what I did have: passion, energy, and determination. Luckily, I wasn't alone. I was in Ottawa with 9 other colleagues from RB, and we realized that working for a global company, we can affect meaningful change. We recognized we had significant resources available to us, whether through our 40,000 employees, our global brands touching millions of consumers every day, like Durex and Dettol, or our partnerships with thousands of suppliers and distributors around the world. Our collective resources provided real opportunities. As you might be experiencing right now, One Young World awoke this insatiable appetite in us, a passion to drive and lead with a purpose. And I'm so proud to be here, less than a year later, realizing that dream that started in Ottawa, talking about our social movement, Impact Now. A movement created by young leaders at RB, just like yourselves. Impact Now is the first steps to make a bigger difference in the world, harnessing our scale and expertise, not only to benefit consumers, but societies as well. So what is Impact Now? The movement launched with 3 core initiatives. First, the Purpose Council, a group of young leaders championing our social mission. How can we embed purpose at the core of the thousands of business decisions that we take every single day? A social disruptor which forces us to address the way we operate and seek a greater measure of success than sales of product alone. The Purpose Council ensures we quantify and scale the most impactful programs that we do, like the behavioral change programs, getting kids to wash their hands, or getting young adults to protect themselves from STIs. We are changing the metrics of our business from ROI, return on investment, to ROP, return on purpose. The second initiative is Give Time, a global volunteering program that we rolled out, engaging all 40,000 employees with our purpose and ensuring that every employee gets 2 days a year to give back to our communities. Our aim is to reach over 600,000 volunteering hours annually. This is part of our wider ambition to impact the lives of 1 billion people by 2020. The third initiative is our Impact Accelerator, where we invest in and help scale social impact projects from social entrepreneurs, like some of you in this room, by unlocking our expertise in the business. We do that by providing cash and critical skills, access to our suppliers and partners to help you scale your initiatives. What have I learned in the process? There is no single roadmap to launching a global movement. And no matter what route you take, it is not going to be an easy one. But find like-minded disruptors that are as passionate as this as you are. They will open doors for you where you didn't even think doors existed. Find them. Sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Just do it and understand that some things will work and some things won't. Leverage the connections you are making here at the summit. Invite the One Young World community to help build on your ideas and your initiatives like we did. It brings fresh thinking, greater insights, and makes that vision even greater and stronger. Being part of Impact Now has been a defining moment in my career, and what I know will be a lasting legacy. Remember, change is a choice. Leadership is waiting for you, and I cannot wait to witness how you take on this experience in launching your own change in your organizations. Together, I know we can all have an impact now. Thank you.
Well done, Tala. Thank you, Tala. It's now my privilege to introduce a dynamic duo, Ben Griffiths, National Sales Manager, and Lewis Smith, Customer Innovation Specialist at Johnson & Johnson. Following the 2014 summit in my hometown in Dublin, Ben and Lewis launched the Youth Health Parliament, the UK's first cross-sector healthcare think tank led by young people for young people. Supported by Johnson & Johnson and a coalition of other organisations, YHP's inaugural recommendation papers were presented to the UK House of Parliament in 2016. They work closely with MPs on healthcare reform and innovation. Please give it up for Ben and for Lewis.
Good morning, Bogotá and One Young World. It is a real honor and a pleasure to speak with you this morning. This short talk is for those of you out there that know that you want to do something meaningful, but perhaps you don't yet know what it is that you want to do, or even how it is that you're going to go about doing it. Perhaps you're enjoying building a successful career, and you've worked hard at that. The point is, you don't have to make a decision. You can have it both ways. You can build a successful career whilst doing good. And, in fact, by working on a meaningful initiative, whilst working for an organization, we believe it can actually increase the impact of your initiative. Things happen faster. Your collective voice will be louder. And if you harness the power of your organization, the scale of your impact can be so much greater.
So, like yourselves, in 2014, we were sat in Dublin at One Young World, having been sent by Johnson & Johnson, our employer, to bring back ideas from young leaders around the world. We were inspired. We knew we wanted to do something, to change something, and to take on something meaningful, but specifically within healthcare, being the industry in which we both work. So following the summit, we returned knowing we had to turn ideas into action. So we ultimately took a group of 50 young individuals and formed the UK Youth Health Parliament. Now, we knew we had to take this from being an internal to an external initiative. And to do this, we needed to partner with other organizations, such as Google, the British Heart Foundation, London Business School, Imperial College London, just to name a few of the partners. And the 50 young people that we brought together were from a range of different backgrounds. We had doctors and nurses, academics and politicians, think tanks, charities and non-profits. We asked them to identify what they felt were the 5 most important areas for the future of healthcare. And these consisted of mental health, personalized medicine and genomics, innovation in the National Health Service, and how the NHS must start to think more like a startup, handing back control and reducing demand through patient empowerment, and securing our health system for the future. So, over the course of 12 months, the groups researched, published, and ultimately delivered their health policy white papers to a group of British MPs and government ministers at the Houses of Parliament in Westminster, London.
So, rewind back to Dublin. Lewis and I were sat in the audience, much like yourselves today. We were inspired to do something. We knew that we had to, and we had responsibility to. But honestly, we had no idea what it was we were going to do. And we didn't even know how we were going to figure how to do that. But what we learned through this journey is that you don't need all the answers at the beginning. You don't need the perfect roadmap to succeed. But what you do need to do is be very clear and ask yourself some very good questions. You need to understand what it is that you're passionate about and why, because it's the why that's going to drive you to be successful and deliver your meaningful initiative. You need to understand what the purpose of your company is, because when you understand what the passion of the company is, then you can find where your passion intersects with the company passion, and that's the sweet spot. That's the bit where things really, really get good. Many of you today were sent here by your organizations because you're the best young leaders that they have. Now think about that for a second. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty powerful, privileged position to be in. And the reality is it would be easy to go home, have a wonderful conference, but not take action. What we say is please, please don't do nothing. Please go and take this opportunity and use it to do something meaningful.
So, as Ben said, don't feel you have to go it alone either. As Ben said, find your why. If you can clearly articulate why you're trying to achieve something, you'll be surprised at the amount of people that emerge from the woodwork willing to offer their support to help. And don't just wait for permission to act, because it may never come. The action's in your hands, so take it and then ask questions and learn along the way. And if we had one final thought to leave you with, imagine if each of us here today started something positive as a result of having attended One Young World. Imagine if we could leverage the scale of the hundreds of organizations represented in this room today. And just imagine the kind of impact that might have across the world. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben and Lewis. Our next returning ambassador is Kaleigh Killoran. Kaleigh works as Power and Development Investment Analyst at General Electric. And Kaleigh's experience was after One Young World Summit in 2015. Kaleigh created several global teams, mostly comprising of One Young World ambassadors, to support GE Foundation-selected social entrepreneurs with the creation of sustainable business models that tackle some of the world's toughest global challenges. Among the projects Kaleigh and her colleagues helped accelerate, and forgive me because my Swahili isn't very good, was Hewa Tele, which means abundant oxygen, a medical oxygen manufacturing and distribution business. With their support, Hewa Tele improved the operations of their plant and raised $3 million to launch 2 new plants in neighboring countries in Kenya, and also expected to serve 80,000 improved lives and, save 80,000 lives and improve the lives of 350,000 people in Kenya by 2020. Please welcome Kaleigh Killoran.
Good morning, everyone. 2 years ago, I was in your shoes. I was inspired by all the speeches, but I was also a little bit overwhelmed by how many different topics were covered and how many different causes people were fighting for. I wasn't sure exactly what cause I would dedicate my time towards, let alone how much time I'd have when I returned back to my office. But today, I'd like to share with you my story of channeling inspiration into action. When I got back from the 2015 One Young World Summit, I was energized and excited to make a difference. I reached out to the Chief Medical Officer of the GE Foundation, which is our philanthropic arm, and I told him more about the conference. The GE Foundation does some incredible work in the global health space by identifying local entrepreneurs that are creating business solutions that increase access to safe surgery products around the world. I told him I wanted to get more involved and that I was currently living in Kenya at the time. So he put me in touch with a group of local Kenyan entrepreneurs that were creating a business called Hewa Tele, which means abundant air in Swahili. Now, this group was very interesting. They distribute and manufacture medical oxygen, which is a key ingredient to decreasing infant mortality and improving maternal health in the region. They were excited, as the foundation had recently given them some capital to build their first plant. They were serving about 20 facilities at the time, but now they wanted to expand. But to do so, they needed to identify new sources of funds, as the foundation had already given them their startup capital. So this is where we came in. I rallied a troop of young GE employees and other One Young World ambassadors from all different functions and 5 different continents. And we created a program designed to teach, and a curriculum designed to teach these entrepreneurs, most of whom were physicians with little to no business background, how to put together a basic business plan. While I was living in Kenya, they came to our office every week for several months, and we taught them how to put together a basic financial model and business plan that they've now used to raise over $2 million and to put towards a plant that's estimated to save over 80,000 lives and deliver medical oxygen to over 375 facilities by 2020. Thanks. What I'm most proud of, though, is that this wasn't just us giving them money. We've given them skills. We've empowered them to sustain these business models on their own. And while I'm talking here, they're talking to the government of Rwanda today for further expansion. What we did now is we have over 40 different GE employees from multiple different businesses and functions and countries working together with local entrepreneurs to create similar business solutions. I actually have 2 of the other leaders in the audience today, Gabby and Caitlin over there, and they're running projects and helping me run projects to do with safe water, disaster preparedness projects for the next pandemic, and also tackling the opioid epidemic in the United States. And now I'd like to share with you my 3 key takeaways for transforming your inspiration into action. Number 1, stop searching, start creating. You don't have to wait to find the perfect cause or the perfect solution, but you need to get started as soon as you get back. If you're unsure as to how, reach out to respective organizations and figure out what they're already doing, and start improving something. Alternatively, you've heard so many inspiring speakers. Reach out to them and ask how you can contribute to their initiative. We are all leaders here. Do not let your desire to be the boss, I have it too, impede your ability to have an impact by contributing to something that's already started. Number 2, find the synergies. As I mentioned, I have a full-time job in finance, but what I've done is I've identified the skills I've developed in my role and applied them to another sector. You're all developing valuable skills within your respective organizations. Continue to develop those skills and increase your usefulness to the world. You do not have to quit your job to have an impact. Find the overlap. And number 3, leverage the One Young World brand. It is incredibly important to find sponsors within your organization. One Young World gave me the credibility to reach out to the investment community, to senior leaders within my company, and to other G employees to build my teams. In summary, when people ask me what One Young World is, I tell them it's the largest incubator in the world, designed to unite passionate young people from all sectors and geographies to tackle some of the world's most challenging issues. Regardless of your age, sector, or financial situation, you're inspired to start making a difference now, no matter how small or how daunting, for there are too many inspiring speeches and resources presented to you to wait another moment. Thank you.
Well done, Kaleigh. Thank you. Thank you, Kaleigh. Let me now turn to Nour Tayara. Nour is the Vice President of Marketing at L'Oréal, and during One Young World Summit, again in Dublin, Nour found himself questioning what he could do to make a social impact out of his role at L'Oréal. He became passionate about the idea of finding new ways to develop products by focusing on the whole life cycle and impact of products. The result of his dedication is a fantastic initiative at L'Oréal, which he will now share with us. So please, Nour.
I was sitting where you were sitting 3 years ago. I was lucky enough to attend One Young World in Dublin. Lucky to listen to Dame Ellen MacArthur explain circular economy, to see real-life examples of NGOs, activists, corporate leaders, and a room of young optimists like myself ready for a change. It was intimidating. I was a beauty marketer, unaware of the impact I can have. 3 years later, I make beauty with a lot of social impact. And we, all of us here, and millions across the globe, we are the generation that can and will make the difference. We might think that we are a tiny cog in a massive machine, but I am here to tell you that if we turn strong enough, our organizations will start turning with us. This is my story. I returned from One Young World with a new set of eyes, a fire in my belly, a desire to be a catalyst of change. I had to do more, and I wanted to do well by doing good. We created a brand called Biolage Raw. It stands for real, authentic, and wholesome. This is the most natural and sustainable brand L'Oréal has done. It's up to 100% natural, it's biodegradable, our plastic is fully recycled. And every decision that went into this development was based on sustainable commitments. But I'm not here to tell you about the product, I hope to inspire yours. What I will say, getting Cradle to Cradle certified has made my day and my year. And that understanding a life cycle is really rewarding. It might surprise you, but 80% of the footprint of a shampoo is generated in its use. It's not the product itself. That is why we built a campaign about reducing the footprint, like the simple shower you will take tonight. From start to finish, Raw took about 3 years. And throughout them, I learned to work differently, collaborate differently, interact differently, and dream much bigger than I've ever had. Look around you. There are more than 1,000 of us here today, and the changes are in our hands. We can be passionate experts. Choose, just choose, be it sustainability or a social cause. Become the go-to person in your company for this. And tell your boss that you really care about this because you need their support. We can also change business models. If you're making a product, make that product that impact. CSR is not something on the side. This is not about giving money. It is about working differently. And we can speak up. Think about it. If your company sent you here with an opportunity, they believe in you. Take advantage of it. They have asked you to be the change. Make yourself that change. And find your own way to success. Forget about the traditional ladder. You will find a rope, an elevator, escalate your way up to success. And do not give up, because everything will fail. Doors will be closed. Your presentation might not get presented, but it will get presented one day. Some will say it will not work. It's not a priority. It's not on the plan this year. Make it a priority. I was leading a great, yet a traditional career at L'Oréal, not taking advantage at all of the opportunity I had. One Young World opened my eyes to the possibility of positive innovation that was right under my nose. There was a way to use our brands for the power of good. At the finish line of One Young World, Ron Guerin shared a human call for action. What kind of world do you want? That is the question I now ask myself in every action I take. Kate Robertson said that she was certain that each one of us in that room knew the difference between right and wrong. I now, more than ever, know that difference. Today, you can help me. You can help me reduce the footprint of a shampoo. A little bit more today than yesterday. So tonight or tomorrow morning, when you go back to your room, all thousands of us here, would you promise to help? Would you turn that water off 10 seconds before your shower yesterday? Would you turn the temperature knob 1 degree more to the left, to the colder part? Try air drying your hair and not blow drying it. I'll even tell you how to do it and it will look good. We might only a couple of thousands here today, but each one of us counts. My brand Biolage has a mantra. We are not perfect, but we are trying. I am trying every day. I know you are too. Thank you, One Young World.
Thank you, Nour. As we close out this session, and before I ask you to recognize our returning ambassadors, just 2 observations and 1 call to action. First, I think what we've amply demonstrated this morning is be really, really clear. There is no conflict between doing well and doing good. And secondly, as you look at your career and your purpose, recognize it's not simply what you do. It will be defined by what you make happen. To participate in One Young World, you as leaders representing your organizations have real privilege. And so I would remind you of what Ankit said right at the beginning. Let's not make this a paid trip to Bogotá, but a step on the journey to fulfilling your purpose. Please thank all our returning ambassadors.